So I gathered the mulberries, and then I washed them here in this here strainer thing and got them all, you know, the little grodies and bugs and everything like that off of them. So now it's just the mulberry. And, hold on, with a hair. Okay, now they're even cleaner. Anyhow, stems are perfectly edible. You don't notice them when they're in the jelly or the jam, because you just eat them right up. So it takes 4 cups of mulberries to 1 cup, or like, it's a 2-to-1 ratio. So 4 cups of mulberries to 2 cups of sugar. And then it cooks down. There's no pectin or anything like that. It is literally berries and sugar in a very long, low cook time. Last time I did an hour, it got super duper thick, so I'm probably going to go 45 minutes this time, depending. And I also mashed them last time with a tater masher, hand mashed them. And someone had suggested putting them in a blender to me, so I was like, well, that's even better. So I'm going to do that too. So let's get started on that after I measure these out. Okay, so you can see I got the 4 cups of berries in here. And I don't really know what I'm putting it on, so I guess smoothie. Clearly that's not right. I don't know how to work this stupid thing. I might wish I put it in a food processor. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to figure this out and get these mashed up here some. And then we'll start cooking them down. So I finally figured it out. It took me lots of swapping back and forth. I clearly don't use a blender for much of anything. But you can see it's all mushied up good. Get it out of here. And that was 4 cups of berries, so I will use 2 cups of sugar with it. So let's do that next. Okay, 2 cups of sugar. This is 1. Okay, and 2 cups of sugar. And then I'm just going to stir it up right good. See if I can't do this without dumping you. Yeah, it's good. And the berries are definitely mashy now. Before it was a real thick, chunky type jam. Tasted super good, but definitely more thick. Anyhow, it will go like this, like I said, 40-45 minutes, and we'll see what the thickness is like. But this is it, and then it just slowly cooks all of the juices and stuff out, and no pectin is needed. So once I get it through this point here, I'll get the water bath canner going, get the jars hot, and we'll talk about all that and take it from there. So, mulberry jam. Looks pretty good. Okay, you see it's going to slow boily here, and it is super runny right now. I mean, like, just very runny. So we'll watch it and watch how it thickens up here over the next bit as it's cooking down. Before we get too far on this, I do need to add that it's got to have lemon juice. Lemon juice adds a citric acid to it, which makes the acid level safer for the canning process of this. So it is just 1 tablespoon of lemon juice for this here mess of berries. Trust me, it will cook way down. So there you go. That's all. So 4 cups sugar, or 4 cups of mulberries, 2 cups of sugar, tablespoon of lemon juice, and it's cooking and cooking. So that's 3 ingredient done. Okay, so while the berries is cooking, it's time to get the water bath canner going, and that would be this here pan. It's got water in it. I got hiccups, I'm sorry. You know, it's got a rack here. The jars will set down on this rack. They cannot set directly on the bottom of the pan. That will cause them to rattle against each other and shatter. They need something underneath of them to keep the bottom off the bottom. That way it doesn't make it bust. So if you don't have a rack, you can put a towel down, you can put a rag down, you can put cannon lids down, or bands, and set them on that, and that all does the same thing. Use what you got. If you bought this here pan at the store, it come with a rack. If you bought it at a yard sale, maybe did, maybe didn't. Hard to say. Anyhow, with that, the water has to be over top of the jars. I'm only doing 4-ounce jars, so that's easy done with this here amount of water. So it's on, it's heating up. And then we'll discuss the jar lifter. So here is your handle. It's plastic, non-grippy. That's how you hold the handle to work it. You'll see here it's kind of got an odd shape to it, and it's rubber. The rubber will grip the jars. This is how you open and close it, and that's how everything is gripped and done. So easy peasy there. Don't try to lift by this because these roll, and you will drop your jars of food, and that's just not a good thing. Oven is on preheating. I'm going to put jars in that to heat them because there'll be a hot jam, which you can see is cooking up real nice here, to a hot jar, which will come out of the oven at 200 degrees, into a hot canner, which will hopefully be boiling by the time this is done in the next 15 or so minutes. So that's where we are. Okay, so it's been going right at about 40 minutes, and you can see it's pretty thickened up. You know, it's it still dollops off there, but it's not super runny, but it's not dry. The last stuff, it was thick. Sticky thick. So I'm thinking we're going to call this a pretty good batch here. And take it off. And then get it going in the water bath canner. Yeah, it's cooked up a lot. Remember, this was 4 cups of berries and 2 cups of sugar. So definitely ain't no 4 cups happening now. Yeah, that's good. That's about perfect, I think. So let's get these pulled off and in the oven. Or canner. Okay, so I turned the pan off. I'm going to get my jars out of the hot oven here. I'm just going to get a couple out at a time, because I'm not sure how many it'll take. So, and then I'll get my funnel. Let me get that next. Okay, this is the funnel. It fits right down inside of the jar here, like so. Okay, and then a ladle. And then I will literally just ladle the berries, the berry jam, mulberry jam here, into the jar. Leave between 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch headspace in between each jar. With that, let me show you what that means. Okay, this jar ain't hot, so I can do this with it. But you'll see you got your rings up here, your little ridges where the band goes on it. So this is like a cheat sheet for you if you ain't got a way to know. So this is more like 1/8 inch, scrolls down, become a 1/4 inch, get halfway through it, and it's about your 1/2 inch marker. And when you get down to the bottom, you're looking at about 1 inch of headspace. Headspace is the air that's left in the top of the jar from the end of the food to the top. You gotta have that way the jar can seal. If you don't leave air in it, then it ain't got no room to pull out and seal down. So you gotta leave air in the top. That's your headspace. What it's needed for. So filled this here jar up. Let me see, it's kind of warm, but you know, it's between around about 1/2 inch or so. So with that, finish filling these here jars. With this here size, it generally takes about a ladle full, because this is only a 4-ounce jar. And I'm doing that because these are for our farmer's market. And that's the size that people like, especially when you get something that you're not sure about. So, you get these filled up and we'll get them in the canner. Alright, so you can see they're filled. Some of them are messy because I missed even with the funnel. With that is, we're going to start with the clean jar first because it's going to make a mess. You got to wipe your rim. Mind you, the jars are hot, so you need something to hold on to. So wipe your rim. These are sticky, so I recommend you wet a rag, a towel, whatever. And you just wipe it up real good. If it's got any kind of residue on it, then it will not allow it to seal. You got to have a clean, smooth rim to put your flats and stuff on. So that one's done. Anyhow, I'm going to get these here all wiped up, then we'll get the stuff on it and get it in the canner. So, oop. This one might be a little bit too full. I might have to divvy it out a little. Okay, so like I said earlier, this is a 4-ounce jar. It is considered a 1/4 pint. You got your pint, your 1/4 pint, 1/2 pint, pint. Your 1/2 pint's generally your jelly jar size. But again, like I said, this is kind of like a special thing. and people like it in the smaller jars. With that, this here is your flat, your lid, whatever you want to call it. It's got the rubber compound on it here. That's what helps, that's what seals your jar there. Heat seals up. Got your band, which goes right on it. Finger tight, just right, they say. Now, I tend to be a little bit overachiever on that. I always like to make sure it's good and tight. So, I'm going to go ahead and jar these up. And again, 4 ounces is half a cup. I got 2.5 cups of berries, or jam, out of the 4 cup of berries. So, that's how much it cooked down and thickened up. I just wanted to point that out to you. If you're thinking, hey, 4 cups is 4 cups. No, it's not. So, we're going to get these in the canner here. Okay, you can see the canner's boiling. Now, these are dinky jars. They fall right through the holes on this here rack. So, instead of doing that, I'm just going to pop it down in there and it'll be done for me. And then pick it up by the jar lifter, as we talked about earlier, and just drop it right down in there. Now, mind you, these were hot jars with hot food in them going into a hot canner. And this is only a 5-minute boil because it is a small batch, a small jar. So anyhow, 5 minutes at a full boil, which is what it's doing already. So you can put your lid on it. That way you keep your boil maintained. Set your timer 5 minutes, or just pay attention to the time, 6:15 in my case. And then these will be popped out, set on the side to cool, and the jam is done. So it's not a difficult process. Washing them was the biggest pain in my butt, was washing them and picking off everything that you don't want. But that's it. Alright, so it's actually been 6 minutes because I get distracted. Anyhow, remove your lid. Reach in with your jar lifter and pick it up. Get it out of there. Stupid handle's in my way. And then there will be water on top of it. Drain it off. So I'll just remove all of those like so, and then they'll be set on a towel to dry. Setting them on the towel to dry is so, if y'all ever took something hot out of an oven, set it down on the sink and it hit some water, it'll shatter your glass. So that's essentially what it does. This helps prevent shock of the glass when it hits the cabinet, and it helps it to cool at a slower pace. You can cover them if you want, and that will allow it to be able to get a more seal on it. I can't talk for some reason. So let me get them out here and I'll show you. Alright, so you can see I got all the jars sitting out here. Adequate space in between them, so they got even airflow and all that there, good stuff. They're done. They'll start popping, sealing, and that's mulberry jam for you. Very simple. Just time consuming because you got to wash the berries and then you got to cook it down for an hour. You can use pectin and do it a lot faster, but this is a 3-ingredient, more natural recipe.